my name is Kevin, and I am with the Weird Homes Tour. And if you're new to watching us on YouTube, here at the Weird Homes Tour, we like to do interesting and eclectic tours of interesting and eclectic homes and their equally interesting homeowners. So we do these tours every week. And so if you like what you see, please subscribe to us on YouTube and like and comment and all that fun stuff. And this week we are joined by the talented artist, Caitlin McCormack, and she is going to be showing us around her home and her studio, and we're going to see a little bit of her art. And it's going to be a lot of fun. If you are watching live, you can type in your questions in the chat box, and we'll be sure to get to it. But yeah, enough of me, yammering on. Caitlin, welcome. Thank you so much. And why don't you show us around your home?
Hey, thanks for having me. So yeah, this is, I live in a South Philadelphia row home, which is, a brick face, kind of brownstone, 2-floor sort of deal. My house is not the most interesting house in terms of its structure, but I am, an avid collector of lots of weird things, including art. I make a living as an artist, which means that, I can't really afford to spend a lot of money on non-essential items, especially, during this trying time. But I have been fortunate to be able to get my hands on a lot of small sculptures and framed pieces by artists that I love, and a lot of those people are my friends. So you might hear my cat meowing very loudly during this. So I'm going to flip my camera around. Oh, there's some coats and stuff. This is kind of like a little altar on an old filing cabinet that it says clients, not in my handwriting. But yeah, I collect all kinds of things. I've got, a little box with a bunch of whiskers that I've found that once belonged to my cats. Don't tell them that I'm doing this. This is a fox molder. Here's a little wooden sculpture that my friend Brad Oman made. I've got all kinds of things. My professor at college, Tom Leonard, gave me this little doll. All of these little objects are very meaningful to me. This is a small sculpture that my friend Chris Tandy made for my birthday, and I can't believe I get to have that. I've got a oblique strategies deck, which I think, if you're an artist or any kind of creative person, you should definitely try to get your hands on one of those because it's very useful, indispensable, I think. This is a sculpture by my friend Darla Jackson. It's birds that have been kind of sewn together in the back. This is Fred, my cactus, who's been through a lot and has lived in like 6 different houses with me. And this is one of the newest things I've managed to acquire, which is a 3D printed sculpture in like this amazing ombre metallic material of like a banana foot bunch by Grace Lee Lawrence, who's an artist and educator. I think she works somewhere out of upstate New York, but I'm not sure. I've got this Nick Sheehy piece and a beautiful drawing by Caroline Harrison that isn't really mine. It was sent to Alex, my partner, who's right there. But, I like to pretend it's mine. It's going to be hard to see some stuff because of the reflections in here, but this is a really amazing photographic print that my friend Jason Chen did that was a part of a show we did together at Paradigm Gallery in 2012. The image is of a chair, which is one of the last things that my grandfather repaired for me before he passed away, like over a decade ago. He was a woodworker. I'll show you some pieces that he made. But I was just really honored that Jason gave that piece to me. And Jason's also one of the co-directors of Paradigm Gallery, where I'm represented in Philadelphia. And I'm also a book freak, one of those book freaks. I've got a ton of Georges Perec and Alfred Jarry and all kinds of creepy books about film, and I've got this really great Paul Klee hand puppet book. I really like need to reel it back with the books. But you guys know how hard that is. I've got this amazing woodcut print by my friend Mike Skier, and a Grace Lang sculpture that I got at Arch Enemy Arts in Philadelphia a long time ago. And I've got this a Caitlin McCormack painting that I really love, and this is a piece I commissioned for my friend Allison Summers for Alex, my partner. I'm going to be doing a show at Talon Gallery in Portland this December with Allison. She's just beyond, she's terrifyingly talented, I would say that. My friend Sean Exynos made me this, and I've got this amazing Nakomi Nix Turner drawing. Also a really good friend. It's like a moth with some stuff wrapped around it. And I've got a Alan Brown piece too. I gotta show you guys my cat, Canyon. She's famous. There's a picture of her that I took where I photoshopped some like ram horns on her head, and it kind of went viral, and people are always sending it to me, and it shows up, on like t-shirts on Redbubble or whatever with like quotes from the movie The Witch. And I just hope that when she has like a modeling contract, she doesn't forget about me. And here's her beans. Can I show you her beans? Yeah, there's some beans there. And
you'll have to give us that photo so we can share it with people.
Yeah, I can't really screen share because I've got my phone, but I can definitely message it to you. Yeah, because it's made the rounds. And I'm very jealous of her success, honestly, because she's ascended to a level of notoriety that she's getting mad at me for saying this because she's bashful, but yeah. But yeah, I've got this novelization of the film Zardoz, which is an indispensable piece of literature. And this is a piece that Alex did that I bought a long time ago. And I've got this James Heimer print and another piece by Jason Chen from Paradigm, which is this woven photo, which is really amazing. And there's a Grady Gordon, who's another really terrifyingly talented artist. And this a little watercolor that my grandfather did, because in addition to carving wood, he did little paintings. He was just obsessed with birds. And I think that accounts for a lot of the presence of avian forms in my work. There's another piece by Alex that I got my hands on a long time ago. Alex does these layered cut paper collages that are really cool. And I've got this bat that my friend Sean Exynos made that peeks around the corner. And this VHS Girl piece from Mortal Machines Gallery in New Orleans. And another Caroline Harrison piece. And this is just one of my favorite things I own. This isn't a print. It's actually a painting by my friend Jean D'Angelo, who's Everlasting Faint on Instagram. And she's just beyond talented. I don't know how she paints so smoothly and accurately, but I love her work. And then there's a piece by my friend Alan Brown that I got at the Convent, which is a really cool space in Philly. That's an old convent that's been turned into an art gallery. And here's a Sam Heimer piece. Sam is achieving his ultimate power of the year because Halloween's coming up and he's a real Halloween boy. And there's a picture of me and my dad when I was a baby. Not art, but maybe relevant.
And Caitlin, you have a lot of amazing artwork in your home, and it seems like a lot of them are your friends. Are you are a lot of these pieces like works that you've seen in your friend's studio for years, and you just have to have it, or is it just kind of something that you happen to by chance come across? How do you find these particular pieces from your friends?
I think for the most part, it's because when you go to a friend's studio while they're working on stuff, you're like well, I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna give some like actual art collector a chance at owning this. Not, I'm just a scumbag. I'm not gonna like incorporate my beloved friend's work into my like horrible, disgusting house. You know, um, so normally I wouldn't like go to their studio and be like, I must have that. But I'll go to the show, and once it's on the wall, it's like, oh, I had a little wine. Maybe I can afford to spend some money on my friend's art, and there's just something really nice about being able to support your friend's work. Sorry about this lamp glow. Um, that's a piece by Kate Glasheen, and this is by Jessica Dalva, and this is Seth Clark and Josh Weatherlake, and there's a marquetry piece by Matt Phillips, who used to live in Philly and now lives in Los Angeles, or like Mars or the moon, probably the moon. I think he probably lives on the moon. And this is a print by Robert Kreza. But yeah, there's just something really nice about being able to, you know, support your friends' careers, even if it's in a very minimal sense. I've got this piece of Mitsuko Brooks mail art that I can't believe I have. That's another recent acquisition. And I've got this Jessica Joslin piece. It's a little dark over here. It's a pretty dark house in general, but Jessica Joslin is like a legend. And I got this Jonathan Richman album. Gotta give him space. And I've got all kinds of little things on this kind of Wunderkammer style shelf. And I've got a cabinet with all kinds of other little knickknacks, including, I don't know if you can see it that well, but I can take it out. A piece by my friend Mackenzie McAlpin, who's Kenza Luli on Instagram. She makes these minis, and they're really, really crazy, and I love them. She made me a little, everything is so small in here. Oh my God. She made me this little pack of Doritos. I don't know if you guys can see it because it's so dark in here, but yeah, so that's kind of it for the downstairs portion of my house. I have, a lot of stuff crammed into what is basically a giant room bisected by a staircase. But I'm at the point where I kind of can't rationalize not hanging some of these because they're all very important to me. So I guess I need a bigger house, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Is it okay if I bring us up to my studio?
Oh yeah. We love the chance to see all of your artwork. Very well curated. Very much a little gallery in of itself, and I love how your kind of nostalgic personal artwork is mixed in with artwork from your friends, and very beautiful. And we can't wait to see your studio.
Cool. I'm gonna plug a phone charger in because my phone's gonna die. Okay, so I'm gonna switch the camera around again and give you guys one last look at my cat because she's very cute. Oh my God. And bring us upstairs. It's a pretty dirty staircase. I've got even more art up here. The drawing I did in college. And I've got, well, it's so dark up here. Another Allison Summers piece that I got years ago. And I collect old class photos. That's a thing that I really enjoy, finding in antique stores and inheriting from people. So this is one of them. I'll bring you my studio's guarded by this skeleton.
And Caitlin, we have a question. David wants to know, how long have you been doing art, and kind of how long have you been in the style of artwork that you've been working in?
So I have been working. I have a degree in illustration. I graduated from college in 2010, and I did 3D illustration, which actually I have some examples of kind of the stuff I did. I made these like dolls, and I would photograph them and put them in environments that were hand built. and you know, it was a really arduous process, and not, I definitely enjoyed it, but I kind of, you know, when you go to art school, you sort of need a break from whatever it was you spent your most of your time doing. Um, and you know, right as I graduated from college, there were a lot of deaths in my family, including both my maternal grandparents, who had a huge influence on me. Um, so I started crocheting just sort of mindlessly with this thread that I inherited from my grandmother. Um, and I found that if it had glue applied to it, it kind of resembled bone tissue, texturally, but also aesthetically on a microscopic level. Bone tissue, it looks kind of lace-like. Um, so that's really where it all started, and I've been doing this, you know, in a really dedicated way for over 10 years. And it's, you know, it's all I do. This is how I make a living primarily. And I also am an undergrad illustration professor, currently at PAFA, but I've taught at some other colleges. That's a little piece by Alex, my partner. I've got another, you know, whole other collection of stuff up here. This is a ceramic piece that I made in Margarita Hagen's ceramic studio, which is in Philly, and she's just really incredible artist who makes nature inspired ceramic sculptures that I can't even describe. They're so amazing. Here's some of my supplies, fabric, because I also make soft sculpture, just kind of, you know, for my own enjoyment. I don't really show that stuff very often. It's kind of a headless doll. There's a lot of headlessness in my work for some reason, so I don't know why I feel compelled to collect headless things. This is another um, ceramic experiment from Margarita Hagen's studio, where I took one of my crocheted bird sculptures and dipped it in low fire stoneware slip repeatedly until it kind of gunked on to the form. And then I fired it, and the string skeleton burnt away inside, leaving just this really delicate husk, which I glazed in like an opal glaze. And you know, it's just this weird like melted ice cream monster that I don't really know what to do with, but I think I'd like to make some larger scale pieces along those lines. And this is a um, kind of a castle structure that I made out of crocheted cotton thread that I dredged in Rust-Oleum and over again until it kind of got, you know, really hard. Um, and I was really, at the time when I made this, I was thinking about security and just like the nature of structures themselves and how they can fail to protect us, you know, especially in light of things like ice raids and you know, it's a very political piece. I was thinking about like giants roaming outside of, you know, buildings that are supposed to protect us and being able to see inside because the structures themselves are failing to really provide sanctuary the way they should be. Um, I've been making these VHS tapes that are kind of like recordings of what goes on in my head, my deepest fears and phobias and things that I fixate on. And they have these like tendrils that are kind of extending out of their central forms. I'm really interested in you know, growths and funguses and things like that, and parasites. And I guess I was in sort of a David Cronenberg state of mind when I made these, because there's like these tendrils of unctuous, sort of greasy material that's still sort of lace-like and delicate, that's extending themselves out towards the viewer. So I, you know, it's kind of where I was when I was making those. And I've got this lottery ticket because I live in South Philly, and the sidewalk is always addled with lottery tickets, especially over the past couple months because people are very sad and desperate. And so am I. So I made this. And sorry about my shadow. Um, I have this piece that was inspired by being at Armory Week in New York at the beginning of the pandemic. and how I was like simultaneously supposed to have a party mentality and really have a great time, but then I was supposed to like sanitize my hands every time I touched anything. And it was a really weird juxtaposition of feelings to be told to have. It was kind of, it all disintegrated from there. Um, so that's what that piece kind of was inspired by.
Love it. And Caitlin, as you've done like a lot of these kind of taxonomy pieces, and with those recent works, do you see yourself kind of moving towards these kind of like satirical pop art inspired creations, or do you kind of see yourself kind of doing that just a little bit on the side?
I like being able to divide my time between the two. I grew up in a cabin in the woods, and nature is a really huge part of my life. Plant forms are something that I fixate on constantly. There's the work that I kind of have on the wall over there is heavily inspired by the rhizosphere and fungi, and just the notion of bacteria breaking things down and transforming it into other forms of matter. Um, just in the soil, and I think that that's really just an like kind of a bottomless well of inspiration. So I don't ever want to put myself in a place where I can't, where my brand or whatever doesn't allow me to make work about those types of things, because they're very integral to who I am as a person. But I don't want to limit myself to those types of things, because a huge thing that I noticed was missing in my body of work was humor, and that's very important to me. And I think these nostalgic objects have more of a capacity to communicate that sort of thing, which is very fulfilling for me. So I guess there's a balance, but it's hard to achieve. But I think I just kind of want to let myself do you know what feels best in the moment without worrying about committing to a branded aesthetic.
Yeah, I love it. And as artists grow and evolve, you'll come up with a lot of really interesting ideas, and we just can't wait to see what comes from you in the future.
Thanks. Thank you.
So, any kind of final words for the people watching about you know about your work, or about supporting their local artist friends? Any last words from you?
Um, I mean, you bringing up supporting artist friends, that's a really important thing. I people who provide services that are deemed to be very non-essential right now. Art is not, it's not a can of beans, it's not a 10 pack of Purell. It's a luxury purchase, but there are ways to integrate beautiful items or handmade items into your life that are very affordable, and artists are very willing to work with your budget in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, there are artists who have huge high ticket items that are not accessible on a pandemic budget, but I know a lot of artists who sell their work by Instagram or Etsy, and they have payment plans, and I think that type of thing is very important to consider ways to support the arts, even if it just means buying a couple prints from, you know, someone that you follow on Instagram. I know I'm trying to do that, and I'm definitely trying to, diversify the types of artists that I fill my feed with and fill my home with. I think that's also really important. It's maybe the most important thing right now. So yeah, I guess that's an important message, to consider ways to support the art community, however you can.
Very true and very important. Um, and before we let people know how they can support you and learn more about you, we do have another question that came in. Do you feel like, because you've worked with so many skeletal forms in the past, is it harder to approach living subject matter to you?
Hmm. I think maybe it isn't, because the skeletal forms that I make are created based on this process that's like very active and based in just constant proliferation. So I'm creating loops and chains and growing these, algorithmically growing these like little bits of material, and sewing them together. So they don't really feel like dead specimens to me. They feel very active because I was very active when I made them. Um, so it to progress from that into living forms actually feels sort of natural. But that is a really good question.
Yeah, I love it. Like whenever I see your work, I always feel like I'm seeing something that's alive and not just like a dead animal that's pinned against the wall. That like we've caught it in some kind of the middle of some ritual or something.
That's really awesome that you see it that way. I really like that. And that's kind of how I feel about it. A lot of the works I make are about specific memories sort of being trapped in stasis. But within that stasis, it's sort of like a little film clip that keeps playing over and over and over again of just this one tidbit of a memory. And a lot of it has to do with trauma and kind of exercising it from my mind and my body and sort of trapping it in this frame. I think about film a lot. It's maybe the most influential art form on what I do, aside from various craft techniques, um, which is weird to think of, but I think it's true. Um, so yeah, they are like the specimens aren't just the decaying corpse itself. They're the whole scenario and the interactions between the foreground and the background and all these other nuanced things.
Amazing, amazing. And if someone wants to see more specimens, if they want to learn more about you, support you, where should they go?
Um, my Instagram has a pretty good, frequently updated, uh, in progress perspective of my practice. I My Instagram is Mr. spelt out Mister underscore Caitlin Caitlin. And I post pretty frequently. I post a lot of stories about my process. And then my website is CaitlintMcCormack.com, where I have a ton of examples of my work and my CV and a little bit of writing about what I've done. And there's a lot of links to interviews, which I really love doing, where I've probably gone too far in depth into certain aspects of what I do. It's probably a little bit too detailed for some people, but there's a lot of that. So if you're in search of that, I've got some resources for you.
Very nice. Well, if you like seeing some of this amazing work by Philadelphia artist Caitlin McCormack, please go to her Instagram page, go to her website, see her work, like it, buy it, put it on your walls, all that fun stuff. Caitlin, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you to all the people who are watching on YouTube. Once again, if you want to see more videos like this, we do this every week, and we do them on our YouTube channel. Just subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff that people do on YouTube. And thank you for joining us. And Caitlin, thank you once again for showing us your amazing home and your amazing studio. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Thanks for including me.
Uh, Bye.
Bye.